everybody, Teacher Maribel here with you guys and welcome to my channel. We're gonna call my Tuesday video Weekly Dose of Grammar because we're gonna talk about grammar. I know grammar is something a little difficult for most of the people that is learning English, but we're gonna talk about this in this video, okay? So thank you very much for watching and let's start. So as I said before, we're gonna be talking about grammar in this video, and I wanted to start this series about learning English from scratch because I know how difficult is the beginning. I know how difficult it is for us to start. I myself started learning English from scratch when I was 20 years old, so I was already kind of like old to say like that because I mean it is easier for children, for example, for teenagers to learn English, but when you pass those like 18 and that, obviously it starts to be a little bit more difficult. Okay, so I know how it feels if you're trying to learn English as an adult already, and that's why I decided to make this series of videos where we're going to talk about learning English from scratch. What is this expression, like learning English from scratch? This expression basically tells us that we're doing something from the very beginning, like from the basics. We're trying to build the foundation of something. So I think that when we're trying to start a project or start to learn, for example, a new language, something that is very important to be successful. I'm sorry about it. It's to learn the basics well, because if we don't do that, it's going to be very difficult. I know students that probably didn't learn those basics well in the beginning, and they still struggle. They still have problems even when they are in the advanced level. So that's why I decided to make this video. So today I'm bringing a topic that is really basic, something that is really simple. Something that you would call, that you would say, teacher, but that's really silly. It is a really simple topic. But the thing is that many people, including me, when I was studying English back there, when I was starting to study English, it was a very complicated topic. Like, I mean, I didn't know. I didn't have any idea about what it was. And I had to deal with it, study, and finally figure it out. Because otherwise, it would have been really difficult for me to continue my journey in learning English. So today we're going to talk about types of words, okay? Types of words. And this is a topic that we first need to understand in our mother language, because otherwise it's going to be really difficult to assimilate in English. So types of words, we have many types of words, but today we're going to talk about only 4, okay? We're going to talk about nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, okay? That's what we're going to see today. We're going to see what they are. We're going to see some examples, but one very important thing that I want you to know is that we're not gonna see a technical definition of these words, okay? I'm gonna teach you how I learned them from the beginning, like very simple. I know later you will learn a little bit more about these words, but today we're gonna learn like a simple definition of them, so you can get a simple idea and assimilate a little bit easier about what these kind of words are. So yes, if you want to study more, if you want to get to know them more, obviously I advise you to go to your English textbook or to YouTube, Google, and find out more about these words, okay? So first kind of word, we're going to talk about nouns, okay? Nouns. We can classify nouns in different categories, like for example, we can find singular and plural, count and non-count nouns. We can find a proper and common, but we're going to talk about those topics in another video. today we're gonna define the basics of what nouns are, and we're gonna divide them in 3 categories. This teacher, my first teacher in the United States, which was a really, really sweet teacher. I think she was like Mrs. Honey in Matilda. I don't know if you remember her. She was like her. She was so sweet, so patient with us. So yeah, she told me this. So nouns basically are divided in under 3 categories, okay? So we can have nouns that are people. So everything that is people, it's a noun. For example, Maribel, Juan, John, Pedro, Peter, okay? Yeah, everything that is people is there. For example, also girl, boy, it's also people. Professions also, for example, doctor, doctors, okay? Teacher, teachers, everything that is people. Obviously, under there, we can also put pronouns. For example, I, you, she, he, they, you. Everything that is people could go there. Now we have the second category, and we can call it things, okay? But these are things that we can touch. So everything that we physically touch with our hands, like for example, book, cell phone, apple, everything that we can touch with our hands is under there, under category of things, okay? And then we have the third category that sometimes it tends to be a little difficult for us to understand. It's ideas, okay? Ideas. And ideas are things, but things that we cannot touch. So, for example, things or concepts that are in our head, or in our heart. For example, freedom. For example, can I touch freedom? No, I can't. It's a concept. It exists, but I cannot physically touch it. For example, feelings, a love, complicated thing. But can I touch it? No. So ideas, okay? So those 3 categories, basically when we are learning English, or when we're in these basic levels, we need to understand first those 2 categories, people and things. Ideas, we're gonna study them later. We study ideas more or less when we are in an intermediate level, like B1, for example. So in these basic levels, we need to understand, we need to know how to identify these 2 basically, people and things, okay? So those are nouns. The second kind of word is verbs. So verbs are really simple. Verbs are like logic, you know, we already understand verbs because verbs are the actions that we do. Verbs are the action that nouns perform. For example, I don't know, eat, drink, swim, for example, run, okay? Everything that is actions that we perform, those are verbs, okay? So verbs are really simple. Then we have adjectives, and adjectives are a little bit more difficult to understand, but they're also very simple, very basic. So adjectives basically are words that describe nouns, okay? So let me say it again. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. So for example, in this sentence, my mom is beautiful, okay? My mom is beautiful. What is the noun? Exactly, my mom. What is the verb? Exactly, is. And the adjective is beautiful because it's giving a characteristic to my mom. It's describing how my mom is. How is my mom? My mom is beautiful. So adjectives is everything that describes nouns. For example, the red car. Red is a characteristic of the car. Red is describing the car. How is the car? The car is red. What's the color of the car? The color is red, so it's describing. So everything that describes a noun, that is an adjective, okay? Then we have adverbs, And adverbs, like I had a very interesting relationship with adverbs, because at the beginning I thought adverbs only modify or describe, that's what they do, verbs. Okay, that's what I thought in the beginning, because I make like I relate, or I associate verbs with adverbs. So my brain said, oh, adverbs modify verbs. And it is true. Adverbs modify verbs, but they also can modify adjectives and another adverbs. So yes, but for the beginning, we can give an example with verbs. Like, for example, when I have the sentence, I drive fast. Okay, so I drive fast. What is I? I is a noun, right? It's a pronoun. Drive is a verb. Very good. And fast is modifying the action that I'm doing. I'm driving fast. I'm not just driving, I'm driving fast. So it is telling me the way that I'm driving. It's modifying that verb driving. And that's how we can use adverbs. As I said before, we can also use them to modify verbs, adjective, or another adverbs. That's how they work. So yes, that's everything related to these words. I hope it was easy for you to understand. And as I normally like to do, I will share with you a memory from me, from my history learning English. And I found this notebook, that I had when I was learning English. And I want to show you why I wanted to do this video, because what I am telling you in this is true. Like, it is because I had the experience myself when I was learning English. So this is my notebook from that time when I was learning English. I will show you. This is the first page, and you can see here 2011. Although it was not 2011, it's just that when we change to a new year, it takes me a few days to assimilate that it's a new year, but it was actually, let me check if you can see it here. Not so good. Yeah, it was 2012. So yeah, my crazy brain sometimes. So yeah, so I had my first class that day, but the same day, I got home and I start searching for information related to these topics, because obviously in the class the teacher started to talk about these topics like nouns, adjectives, adverbs, verbs, and I had no idea what they were. So I got home and I started studying about it. I went to Google and I found some definitions and I put them here in my notebook. I don't know if you can see it there. So you can see that I wrote about nouns, about verbs, about adjectives, for example, prepositions. And for example, in nouns, I put nouns refer to people, animals, places, things, or ideas. So I didn't know, I really didn't know in Spanish what they were, and I had to figure it out. So I just wanted to say this because I want you to know that I know how it feels, I know the frustration that you can feel when you're learning these topics that for many people could be simple, but for some of us, they're not. So yeah, it's okay. We just need to study. We just need to exercise the English muscle and just continue, in our journey. So yeah, that's everything for today. Again, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video really helped you clarify all these concepts about these basic grammars. And thank you very much. Please, I invite you to write me down here your comments, maybe some questions. You can write some examples about the topics that we studied today. You can tell me about topics, like grammar topics that you would like me to talk about in these Tuesday videos. And yes, also, if you like the content of my video, please subscribe over here to my channel. Click here in the notifications button so you can get a message every time that I have a new video. And thank you very much. Please share the video with anybody that you know that could be interested in these topics. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next time. Bye.